I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting tonight. Next week we'll be starting off, tonight I guess we'll be starting off with a beer board. We have a beer license for, Maple Creek on the water, on consumption. That's for UG, hookup, new owners. Long-standing license holders.
It's just, they're leasing the restaurant, they don't own it.
Okay. That's what it is. Anyone have any questions on that? Okay. Then we'll go from there into the regular meeting. Anyone in the audience like to address the commission?
Can we do the pledge and prayer real quick? You don't do it on workshops? Why not? I apologize. Thought we were forgetting.
Rick, I've got the lawn boys, they want to talk about the jail stuff, is that all right?
Yeah. Floor's open for comments if they want to. Come on up.
I've been contacted about this whole jail, you guys getting recertified and all this stuff. As a contractor, I was just looking at it and just thinking, making the old health department building a female pod does not seem cost efficient to me. If you move those females or males to the female pod, you're gonna have to hire more corrections officers to man the building. The cost to redo it, to secure it, to hold inmates, which would cost quite a bit. But I talked to Mr. Derek earlier about this. The moving 911 out of the jail would be the most cost efficient thing you could do to get recertified quickly. You're looking at 500-600 square foot that 911's taking up inside your jail. You wouldn't have to hire any more corrections officers. The cost would be half of what it would cost to make the old health department building a pod. There's already a secured facility inside your jail. And I think it would be way more cost efficient and a faster process to get you guys recertified. And I've worked in the jail. I was a county cop here, city cop here, so from the inside looking out as a police officer, I mean, a jail would be nice and all that, but I don't know what the deal is with all that, but I can tell you that if you want to spend the least amount of money and get recertified as quickly as possible, that is the way, as a contractor, I would see you guys being able to do that. If 911 moves out of the jail and you gain that 500-600 square foot back immediately, you're not having to build nothing, you're not having to do nothing. You just move 911 out and you got an extra pod.
There is talk about 911 building a new facility.
Yeah, they're
But
all,
that's down the road.
that's,
Yeah.
Well, we bought property last month, but to move the tower and get set up, it would take a little while, but they're planning.
When we did, when 911 remodeled in the jail, I don't know, what was it, 7, 8 years ago they did that? They moved 911 dispatch to the EOC for a number of months, and it didn't take no time, like we did that. I mean, they were dispatching out of the jail one day, the next day they were at the EOC dispatching. That's not something that would take a month. What I'm saying is, if you're wanting to get recertified now, that's your fastest way to get recertified. 911 could be moved over the weekend. Construction could start, and you would, of course, there's gonna be things you're gonna have to do to the 911 to make it a pod. But that is your cost efficient way to do it and your fastest route to be recertified.
I thought we were receiving in the 911.
It's the same it's the same all the way through the jail. It's the same height. Floor is the same height throughout the entire jail. 911 is directly off the booking. So I mean, you're standing in booking, you turn around, you walk down a 8-foot hallway, you're in dispatch.
So we got the other office behind dispatch.
No. and there's already a restroom back there, you've already got plumbing back there, you've already got everything back there. The HVAC system's no good throughout the whole department, or through the whole jail. So, I know they use a mini split in 911 because of the HVAC system. HVAC system needs to be upgraded to the whole time. So, that wouldn't be a problem, I mean, that's a cost that's gonna have to happen either way. I'm just saying, if you guys are looking for cost efficiency and quickly to get recertified, that's the only way to do it. And you could remodel the officers building for dispatch. And put 911 there. I mean, it wouldn't have to be near as secure as a pod that's holding inmates. So, that was just my thought on it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, or how the people feel about it, but as a contractor, that's your fastest way to get recertified at the least amount of money for the county. That's all we have.
Anyone else?
I have a question about that. Tony, can you hear me okay? Would you guys have room for that? Is that even an option at the EOC?
The Emergency Operations Center was set up for a backup center in the event that something was to fail, or as the gentleman spoke, as the renovations had occurred. So, we are designed and set up, and I want to use this lightly as temporary. There is some amenities that they have that we do not have, such as some CAD, 2 radio consoles, and some other technology that they're using today. But as far as receiving 911 calls and dispatching 911 calls, we have the capability of doing that. And then we cross the line of the space and housing. It would be, like I say, great for a few months, but they have 2 dispatchers on duty plus a supervisor. And the way our facility is designed, we're housing EMS employees, and we're also readily available for any stand-up of Emergency Operations Center. So if those incidents occur or work as well, it gets crowded, but it can be done. It's just, they're gonna leave some amenities behind that they're very used to using on a daily basis. So, I think it's a good idea, it's a good approach. If they could get up and going pretty quick, that would really ease the pain of a relocation. But it can be accommodated, but.
So that could be temporary until they.
Yeah, it would be, I'm gonna say 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 at the most, we could probably accommodate that, but it really throws them out of their normal environment with 2 dispatchers, CAD capabilities, and all the NCIC and then the logistics that goes with dispatch, so.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it.
But Tony, it's still,
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's like, it's just like swapping vehicles or homes, it's an adjustment. But, they're gonna lose some everyday amenities
sure,
that they're using. And that's about it. But
we gotta give up something before we get recertified.
yeah, that's the thing. It would definitely be a solution to your problem here. I'm not saying, I don't know what kind of money pot they've got to get on the fast pace, but I'm gonna pitch this out while you're thinking 911. If 911 builds on that hill or on that property lot, I highly recommend a storm-proof facility because it's above ground. And those expenses are a little more, and I think you're right, Rick, I think they have to be. And, they really need to be bunkered in once that gets in place, because of the.
Sustainable to F4, I think, it's IBC codes.
Yes, okay, well, I didn't realize there was a code for that, but I know that everyone that has built a new dispatch center or added on, they've had to make it a storm-proof facility. So, that's a little more out of your pocket, so the normal, let's say 1,000 square foot building up there would probably be double the cost the normal construction would be due to those standards.
Anyone else have any questions or comments on that issue? Anyone else in the audience like to address the commission? Hearing none. Okay, we'll have the minutes and the trustees' reports to approve for February. Into new business, reappoint Joe Brantley to E911 board. Next item, accept fire equipment grants.
This is a $64,500 grant that the state grant that the fire department received to purchase a special air compressor to fill the respirator tanks with. I think it produces air at 6,000 PSI. It's not your average shop air compressor, and it's filtered so it can be breathing air. So it's a highly specialized piece of equipment. That number that you see was just, it's what they asked for because it was a price they received. We don't know exactly what these are gonna cost, but we got a grant for that much, so, in your packet, next down is just an image of what one of these looks like, and the next thing on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, was just to,
The next item is, request, approve the request for sealed bids for the fire equipment.
we would, next week, we would ask that you approve the bid, or approve the grant, and then approve to put the air compressor out on bid. And we would, advertise and see what we could get.
Is this a zero match?
Tony, did I cover that pretty good?
That's
And
good.
Trey?
If anybody got any more questions, you can hit me up, but,
Anyone have any questions on that grant?
The county has never had an air compressor. They've always used the compressor that the town of Decatur owns, so this is a big step for the county. It'll just give them more independence, and if the town's compressor were to go bad, they do go down from time to time now, we can kinda help each other.
And just for context, we've got 36 bottles to fill sometimes, if we have a large fire, and if, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't fill all those at one time. We've gotta go to Athens or Benton County or something like that with a bigger system so we can refill those, and then get them back and get them to there.
You know how many built one, when they're looking at?
it should be
So 14 CFM, I think is the size of it.
should be a two-station fill, and if we put a cascade to it, we can fill as many as, 6 at a time.
Any more questions? Next item is request for qualifications for architect for jail justice center. This is just authorizing to put the RFQ out there.
Did we have a copy of that RFQ in our packet?
No, I can have the development district, they've agreed to help us with that. I can try to get y'all something like that for next month as far as the verbiage on what it would look like. The development district is willing to help us find an architect because if we're completely honest, if we put an ad in the Chattanooga Times and on our Facebook page and on our website, we don't know how many architects that build jails are sniffing around our site. So the development district, they help all of the counties in southeast Tennessee with, they've got a list of probably 20 architects. So they'll push it out individually to those architects, and then they'll advertise on some platforms that we wouldn't, we'll still have to advertise, mind, but they'll be able to help us with that.
Next item is library budget request.
We talked a little bit about this last month. It got left out of the pack because the library, chairman or their friends of the library didn't know that she had to bring it to our office. But she did bring it to the finance office, and we talked a little bit about how last year we had to put a little bit more money in their budget for maintenance of effort because we had changed some stuff around, and it looked like we cut their budget by like $2,000, but, it was because we saved some money on insurance. And we're not allowed to cut the library's bottom line budget.
Level of effort.
It has to be, the bottom line funding has to be the same, so we put $2,000 more in there to clear the books, and we stuck it in supplies. And what they're requesting to do now is to take that $2,205, put it up into salaries, because our librarian is retiring, and they're looking for a librarian, and they're wanting to make that salary a little more enticing.
No new money, just
No new
moving their
money.
own money.
Next item is proposed liquor sales to go on the ballot, and I've requested that be passed, that be put on there. We discussed it a few months ago about the possibility of, seeing if we can get it on a referendum. And I've done some checking, and I've got, I think everybody's got paperwork that I've passed out tonight here, up here. First off, it has to be agreed to by the commission, or an individual come and request it. It can be that way, and then we agree to that. Then it has to, we have to get 10% of the last governor's election that voted, 10%. And there's 3,280, I think, so that would be 328 signatures that would have to be obtained. Or would need to be obtained, and then it can be put on referendum. The only election in the remaining part of this year is in November. It cannot be associated or tied to with, a primary. And our primary, we have a state primary in August, I think. So the only true general election is in November. I just wondering what the commission's take is on that, what the feel is. I mean, that's revenue that's coming into the county.
Well, you can go any direction, 15, 20 minutes.
It's all around us. It's every county around us. I don't know if one around us that doesn't
I
have.
know there's a lot of people
Yeah.
against liquor, but it's a revenue. We
But
can
this
use
is-
every bit of revenue we can get.
Instead of raising property taxes, I mean, if you get 200,000, if you get 100,000, that's 3 pennies. I mean, we look at it from the standpoint of pennies, and 100,000 is roughly equivalent to 3 pennies.
We bring more restaurants in too, better restaurants.
Yeah, that's something else. You have to do a referendum for package stores, and as of right now, until we research it further, right now, package stores are only allowed in city limits. Retail sales. Liquor by the drink. Janie, correct me if I'm wrong. Liquor by the drink can be at any establishment that qualifies. Right, Jenny? Even in, outside the city. And then, the next election, we could do another referendum to allow wine in grocery stores. You have to do a referendum for each state, for each category. But it's not required to get the signatures over the second or the third option, only the retail sales is the only thing that has to get the signatures. Is this something that the commission would like to consider?
Put it on there, let's get the vote.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not doing anything, we're not saying, yeah, we're gonna start selling liquor, we're saying, okay, people, you have the opportunity to vote whether or not this county sells liquor.
Leave it up to them.
They're making the decision, not us.
I believe with that, and if we get this thing going down here to the park, get it going, we might get some revenue out of the Cherokee Park. We already want kayakers, they're already wanting to come over and, so, anything gets some revenue coming in. That's our problem, this county, we just have not got enough revenue. Not enough interest.
Okay, that sounds favorable. Next line item, and anybody stop me if you want to. Next line item is local option sales tax to go on the ballot. We have to do a referendum for that. Again, we've done it twice, it's failed. I think it's failed because of the lack of information that was distributed out to the public.
Isn't this different from what's proposed last time?
No.
You proposed adding 0.25% to the 9% sales tax. This is 0.75% to the 2%.
No, it's 0.75 last time. It was at 2, we were at 2, and this takes it up to 2.75. We're the only county around that is at 2%.
Well, if we can get it nailed down what it's gonna go for, I think.
Automatically.
It's got a chance, but
Automatically 50% was going, and that has to go to school, that's a gimme. And what we discussed last time was the rest of it would go to debt services goes towards, that's where you pay your major construction bills out of.
Last time we had some going to sanitation.
Yeah, that's correct.
But it's been voted down twice.
It's been voted down twice. But I feel like, I'm hearing a lot of people say that I didn't know what it was for. It needs to be more clarified, maybe even on the ballot, we can put it on the ballot, 50% school system, 50% debt services, or whatever we want.
Best way to explain it, if you go to buy something for $1, it's gonna cost you $1.09.
Well, I told somebody, I said, I get Hardee's biscuits 2 for $5 every morning, it cost me $5.45, it's gonna cost me, if it goes through, it's gonna cost me $5.49.
It's just an extra penny on the dollar.
Cents more for my biscuit a month.
like I say, you get more information out about it, it might have a chance.
And anybody shopping around in neighboring counties already paid for it anyway. Anybody here in this county, because any neighboring county already paid for it.
Well, that's the thing, people in McCain County, people in Bradley County, when they come through here and buy their
You're
minutes, buy
exactly
their
right.
fishing equipment, then they're.
You're getting people from Bradley County helping pay this, not just the people that live here.
I don't know, I supported this twice, I advertised for it, they voted it down twice. I just don't know that I can support it.
I think we gotta try it.
Put it on
I
there,
think we
vote.
gotta try it. I think we need to put it up there, and I challenge each one of the commissioners to speak to it. Speak your heart, speak against it, speak to it, or whatever you feel, but let's try to get the information out there, that's better this time. And I would recommend that we put some kind of notation on the actual ballot. I mean, sometimes they're paragraphs long in those things, so.
Well, it hurts a lot of people just see tax, that's all hard they see.
Yeah, that's, I feel like that's the big reason why we voted it. Next item, authorize mayor to progress on the land swap. Mayor has talked with a couple or three TDOT employees, heads of, and I have gone, I went to the industrial board meeting last week and asked for them to consider, and they did agree on land swap. And we kind of discussed that with the board of ed, the economic board chairman, Tuesday night, wasn't it? And come up with a plan, but what we're gonna swap is the piece of property on above. If you go into industrial park and turn left, it's the inland. There's 5 acres there, roughly 5 acres. And they're gonna give us the TDOT property out here adjacent to the edge.
What have we got to put over there? Their shed or?
They're gonna do it all.
All we're gonna do is just a plain swap.
Now, if they decide to up and leave, do we keep the property?
No, they're gonna have a deed to that property.
It'll be theirs.
It'll be theirs.
It's just plain swap, good deal.
Yeah.
We're swapping 5 acres for an acre, 1.4 acres. I measured it, it's 1.4 acres.
What would it cost us to build all them buildings though?
We don't have to-
I know, but I was just saying if you did have to build those buildings down there, that would cost, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a bad deal.
They depreciate their buildings over a period of years, and there is one shed down there, and some of y'all drove by, that's the most recent structure they built. They say they may wanna take it down and move it to their new site, but the other structures on that have already they depreciated to nothing, so they're willing to walk away. But here's something that's a little interesting that we've got to consider. They want the ownership of that transfer to go through pretty quick, because they want to develop that site immediately. They wanna start working on it. They don't want to take all their assets that they've got in Decatur now and send a little bit to McMinn and a little bit to Ray and a little bit to Rome. They're saying we'll never get our stuff back. They want to get ownership of that property, start building it out, get it fenced, get their shops up so they can take all their assets and just drive them down the road. And I don't know how quick we're gonna need their property, but they're kind of wanting to get this done sooner than later. Another factor they're a little concerned about is there's a governor's race. We're gonna have a new governor in a few months. And they said sometimes when you have a new governor, they want to shift emphasis and they want to get all this done and at least have some contracts or MOU signed before the governor's race, so plans in place.
And that's what I would like for us to vote on this month. This month is just to authorize the mayor to move forward with our attorney, with TDOT, whatever it takes, working with our attorney to get this accomplished as soon as possible.
We would like to know, it's a good deal. We would like to know if what they are gonna take, how much they're gonna take, the pieces of public property.
The only thing that's even considered is that shed that's over on the left-hand
The
side.
shed, it's,
The 40 by 60 red iron,
Yeah.
just top, they say
I
they
want to
may
keep
move it.
it.
Huh?
I want to keep it.
The ones
They
I,
may end up leaving
the
it.
ones I think,
That old 30 by 50 three-bay shop and their
Yeah.
aggregate
Yeah,
barn.
I've been in,
They're
I've
gonna
been
walk away
inside.
from all that.
But it's all right, that's a good deal.
It is a good deal.
I think it is. I think it benefits the county. I mean, that opens up some options
Does.
in the future. And like you said, right now, we use it for income. Okay. Next item. Tony, I'll skip you. I'm gonna turn the floor over to Tony, but
Or you wanna drop it to 10,
go ahead.
go ahead and do your reappraisal.
Okay.
I step up to 10. I'll do it about more.
I'm sorry, Tony. I had an error, but I didn't pay
That's fine,
attention.
Greg had the shoe off, I stick the 10, 15%. You're good.
Okay, next item is the, 26/31 appraisal plan, and I'm gonna let Billy speak to that if you would.
Thank you. We do our reappraisal every 5 years. We've been on that track for at least ever since 2001 and possibly back in the 90s. But, what I need tonight, I did the same thing in 2021 and the same thing in 2016. Have to get the commission to approve it, and, we need Rick's signature and also Eddie's signature, and, it's a resolution that, Janie, Myers, the clerk, has to file to sign off on also. Where we're at, we're wrapping up reappraisal, and, honestly, we're gonna have the lowest tax rate I'm sure Meigs County's ever had. Probably, possibly the lowest tax rate in the state of Tennessee. I take maybe just a little bit of credit for that, but, as commissioners, both, the present and the past, you probably have to pat yourself on the back, because, a small county like Meigs County, to be down there with such a low tax rate, when you're competing against the McMinn's and the Bradleys, that's pretty impressive. But, what I've got, just basically is the same format as been in years past. Kind of tells what we'll be doing each year, and, it's a 5-year reappraisal plan, that, describes how we generate our values, and, just need, it to be approved, and at that point, I will forward it on to the Division of Property Assessments in Knoxville, and, they will forward it on to the, State Board of Equalization in, Nashville for approval, there. But, I do have a few copies. I don't have enough for all, I guess, 10 commissioners, but, I'll be sure, and if anybody would like to have additional copies, I'll have them for you by next week. Me and Eddie spoke about it a few minutes, this afternoon.
We done had our packet posted, it's up, and if you want to actually look, see what this looks like, you'll let me know, I'll have you a copy next. It's just, he said it was the same thing that they've had every year, but I've never, this will be our first look at.
But,
also have a copy of it.
I do have, I think, 4 copies, and I'll be sure to get any of the other commissioners' copies, before the commission meeting next week. But, do need you to vote on that next week and get it passed so that we can move forward.
So the vote would be to,
To just continue with the 5-year
5-year plan.
reappraisal. And the deal is there appeared to be a couple of years ago, there was a, comptroller's office had a bill out there that would require the counties to shorten their reappraisal. Well, the purpose of that is because we're seeing such drastic increase in real estate prices that the tax rate is changing such drastically now that, the comptroller's office was kind of wanting to shorten it where it wouldn't be as drastic. However, that bill failed, and comptroller hasn't brought it back up. So we're still running out the 5-year reappraisal plan. So,
Billy, why don't you give Ralph a copy, see if he doesn't have an email, and if you'll give me another copy, I'll push these out in the morning to everybody on email. That's good.
works for me.
anybody else want to,
Get Dustin one there. Yes.
Any questions?
Okay, next item. I'm gonna step up now, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board. A few days ago, before I realized this meeting was going on and seen the proposal proposal that was being placed before you on the liquor sales tax and then the local option tax. I just wanted to, also bring this to you also. As you know, we're much strapped for funds also in emergency services. We've had many hours of debate with public and also with this commission about second ambulances and, some other things going on. It's a little more under the cover, but, as of right now, in fire, rescue, emergency services, we also have some, a couple of pieces of fire equipment that's starting to fail very rapidly, and we're looking at several dollars to, get these back up to specs. I'm gonna give you a quick lesson on how important the fire department is for a county. We now have a 5/5Y rating from ISO. This is the company that comes in and they rate our fire department with equipment, training, and personnel on calls. By doing this, it enables for your property owners to get a lower insurance rate on their home because they have fire protection within 5 miles of these services. Right now, we could use 4 more fire stations with the equipment in it. We have a large development in the north end that property has been donated to the county. We have a lot of property in the south end and the Dry Branch community, Highway 60, that's outside the 5 miles, a lot of large homes, gated communities. These folks, insurance company calls me every time something sells, won't know what the fire rating is, it's a class 10. It's really poor for that type of residence. We've got an area down here around the, Big Springs area that goes out to the Forks of the River and also back into the, Hiawassee area. It's, has a lot of riverfront homes, a lot of high property values, and, yet they have high insurance rating. And then we have the, north end community, Red Cloud, and the new community up there that's gated, that, also is in desperate need. In order to fill these shoes, it takes money. And what Billy Breeden has told you, I know you guys are probably wanting to pat yourself on the back for keeping property taxes way low, but you know, the cost of doing business is much higher now than it was 5 years ago and 10 years ago. We can't keep up. Just looks like the EMS services we're trying to provide. You know what? We're moving people in here by the droves. They're buying the cheap property, cheap taxes. I know they're paying $10,000 an acre just getting this thing started. But guess what? 5 years from now, these people are going to age. They're not putting them in our schools. They're putting them in houses, and they're going to be needing EMS care, fire protection, and all this other that comes around. We pick people up off the floor, we put them to bed, we wipe their rear ends. We are an all-purpose department. So to kind of help ease the pain, because obviously it don't seem like that we're going to adjust property taxes anymore to take care with the new appraisal, you're going to throw her back down again. We're going to sit here struggling with jails, services that everybody needs. There is a TCA code, if you want to write this down when you do your own research. It's 5-17-106.
Second.
5-17-106. It's in chapter 17, and it's under Title 5. What this allows the county government to do, as you guys have to approve any other option taxes, is that we can, add a fire tax onto the referendum and have people to vote on it. And what this does for you, it puts the monkey back in the public's lap. If they really want services, they can pay the option tax. A little rough figure for each piece of parcel that we have, and I've just looked at parcels, a little over 9,000 parcels in the county. Also, we're looking at, trying to raise $500,000 to keep this going. Because to add 4 more stations, upgrade our fire equipment as we need to, that's only gonna generate about $500,000 a year, and also that's only gonna generate enough for another ambulance crew too to be pitched into that mess. So, it gives you an opportunity to pass the buck, as you come out and say, put it in the public's hand, just like you did your sales tax, your auction liquor, and let them make the decision. We'll do all the advertising for you, don't have to lift a finger, if you want to support us, fine, you can make that a motion on your next meeting, if you don't, that's fine too, we're still struggling, we're still providing services, but it's not what our public needs and what they want. We know it's not what they want. Everybody wants another ambulance, this gives us a starting point. Gives us a point to also replace apparatus, repair apparatus, and add more apparatus to the community. Add some more fire stations, and give the people really what they deserve, and that's bang for the buck. And just another figure to throw out there, if you provide every $100,000 assessed value with the 5/5Y insurance rating, you are saving personally between $300 and $500 annually on your homeowner's fire insurance. That's how important your fire department is to the community. You don't see that part of it. All you see is red trucks and sirens and people lifting people up, taking care of bee stings, cut arms. That's what we see as the public. But the benefit of the countywide fire department is the fire rating. For us to keep this, we have to have serviceable equipment. And like I told you, we have two pieces of apparatus that's in pretty janky shape right now. We got equipment now hitting the 20-year-old mark. It's got to be replaced. And a typical cookie cutter fire truck, I'm talking about solid red with a pump and a tank, is nearly $500,000 in today's figures. And I know if I come and say, I need $1 million to replace two janky fire trucks, you guys have thought I'd ask for a justice center. So, if you would, as you're paying for this, to be on the referendum, you would consider us as also a local fire tax, and let the public decide.
What kind of amount are you even talking? 1% or a flat rate?
I'm talking about, I did flat rate figure.
A membership type thing?
A flat rate would really be cheaper than a subscription rate. Most subscription rate around us in these other communities, I'll use, Highway 58. It is a large community, they've got 4 fire stations, that sounds right?
17,000 people.
17,000 people, a little bit more than that. What is that, $101 a year? 100, I believe. Okay, about $100 a year they pay a subscription, and then also they receive funding from the county. So the county gives them a lump, and then they receive a subscription for fire protection. My figures come to about $50 per parcel. Now, you may say, well, I'm a little on fire because I may have 2 or 3 blocks up here, and that'd be good too. It's just $50 more. But the thing about it is, as we continue to grow in this county, property is being chopped up. I mean, we're cutting this stuff like brownies in the oven. And as we do that, that becomes more parcels, and that becomes more money. But at the same time, that puts roughly $500,000 annually into an emergency services fund. Now, you're already dumping that right now for a single ambulance that nobody thinks that we've got enough of it. But we could do what we discussed back several months ago, a combination, first out fire, second out ambulance, gives us something to go to, we start building some stations. This is not an overnight fix, it's gonna take at least 5 years to start seeing some progress with this. But, what it does, it gets the monkey off my back, gets the monkey off your back, puts it in the public's hand. They want it, you pay for it. Just like we have to go to Piggly Wiggly, if we want a gallon of ice cream, or a half gallon of ice cream for the weekend, we gotta pay for it. You don't want that luxury, pass it up. But it gives the voters the opportunity to make a decision. We will advertise it for you, we'll push this out, we won't throw anyone under the bus, we'll make this as clean as we possibly can, and when they go vote, they can vote yes or
Are you
no.
firm on the $50?
I think so. I was doing some hashtag cutting, I thought 30 would be it, that's only about 300,000, I think. if we grow, and one thing about it, which never happened, you can always reduce it somewhere along the way, but we're voting for the tax not to exceed $50 per parcel. Any other questions?
So is that,
What are your plans, oh, sorry, go ahead.
after you, sir?
Oh, what are your plans for advertising? You keep mentioning advertising.
Well, we got a pretty savvy group of Facebookers and such as that. And you know what? It seems to work because, that's the reason many young are not rerunning for election. You had too much public criticism, so, we just throw a hook in the water and see if anybody wants to bite and carry it off, or nibble it, and be done.
Sure.
But, it's not a decision you have to make other than putting it on the referendum. It's a voting decision.
I'm game.
And I'm telling you what, I would gladly pay $50 more, because I'm saving on my own little 1 acre lot, my little old house I live in. My insurance at Farm Bureau would save me $400 a month, because I'm a 5/5Y. And if I was to lose that, I'd be real sick, because of the fire truck that wasn't able to pump water sufficiently and get the points we needed for ISO rates. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to keep what we've got, but expand it to these other folks that don't have it. And this would give us something to work from. It don't fix it. It's not an overnight fix. It's not a magic wand. This is just a solid suggestion of building refuge.
And if it don't go through,
It don't go through.
it don't go through, it's still people.
It don't hurt anybody's election race. It don't hurt anything coming in.
Thousands of got resources, even more.
But, it is a reasonable solution, unless you guys decide to take your new appraisal and readjust your taxes and benefit from the costly, prices people run up property values. And they've done it.
Oh, yeah.
They've done it. And I hate it, because guess what, when I die, that little old farm down there that we're trying to hang on to will be busted up in somebody's subdivision, and they're gonna pay, golly, who knows, my great grandkids are gonna lick it up, and it'll be gone. So, I want to hold on to what little bit we got, and I don't mind paying $50 extra to keep us. Anyway, guys, any more questions for me?
Tony, is that gonna go on the property tax bill, like a separate line item, or how does it get collected?
It can be, as far as I know, it can be stamped onto your taxes. Now, here's the deal. If the majority says yes, everybody gets to pay for each piece of property that you own. And there's 9,000 and some odd parcels. And I just use that as a gathering number, because that's kind of how we get our property taxes from each parcel and the appraisal of it. And most of these parcels, and I'll just throw this as an example. I got 1 acre, it's got a house on it. Then there's another 200+ acres that my name's on, that has no houses on it. Okay, what the heck? It's $50 for the 200-something farmland acres, and it's $50 for me to live in my house there. But here's the deal. I'm saving nearly $500 on my homeowner's insurance, and guess what? If I roll back there in that hay field, and I've got a $50,000 baler behind a $100,000 tractor, guess what that does? It saves my ass again, maybe. Or it makes my equipment insurance a little cheaper. So,
Where's Julie at?
there you go, guys.
Thank you.
Let me say, back when I took office in 2012, I had just came out of the insurance industry. And Tony's correct, and I preached it back then. If the commission invested in the fire department, it would lower homeowners' insurance rates in the county. Now, your Farm Bureau agent's gonna cry, because it's gonna really cut their salary. But yes, if the fire department ratings go down from a 9 to a 7, or 7 to a 5, or 5 to a 3, whatever, that does lower your homeowner's insurance rate, premium. Now, as far as the fire protection class, that's called a special tax. Predominantly, you see it for schools and fire departments. The one thing is, I know Bradley County, you don't have that if you're inside the city. And I would assume that's something here that Meigs would have to look at. I don't know if you can do the fire tax on the city parcels or not. Now, the other thing, most counties do have the fire department tax on its own commercial buildings and dwellings. So if you had a vacant piece of property out there, I'm not for sure that you could apply the fire department tax to it. But, you know, it does, one thing that I do like is when you get your property tax bill at the end of the year, it specifies how much the fire department tax is. That's down there at the bottom, you got your regular property tax, and then right below it, you've got your amount for the fire tax. And that, people do like that because they're able, if they do like paying taxes, they are able to see what that charge is for. So, you know, that's just something to think about.
Is that gonna create a whole bunch of work for your office, or is that just real easy to do?
Maybe the first year,
Yeah.
but after that.
It's not a whole lot.
And that's the thing, there's no percentage going to county government, there's no percentage going to schools, there's no percentage going to roads, it goes to the emergency services and their needs for that equipment and personnel and whatever happens. And you know, at today's rate, it's costing me $3,000 to equip one person in protective clothing to fight fires. But it's a points game for us, and that's the bottom line, you know, as Billy said, when they come out and grade our fire department, they're looking at losses, and they're looking at equipment, how the equipment performs, and how the personnel shows up on the call. And what the insurance company looks at mainly, yeah, they prescribe your house with so many gallons of water per minute, it takes you to extinguish it. But really what they're doing, they figure that on protecting other exposures. So that's another key factor. So I'm telling you, this business it's a handful, and there's a lot behind the scenes that people really don't know. But this would definitely start easy.
Thank you. Next item, we have accept ambulance equipment endorsement grant. Tony, would you like to speak?
We recently applied for a grant through the State Department of Tennessee Emergency Medical Services, and with that, we have received the amount of $30,303.03. We requested to the state to buy a new cardiac monitor, and I'm gonna tell you, Reverend, this right here makes me cry. But the new cardiac monitor, which ours is older than 10 years, and they say that 10 years is the end of life for this type of equipment, but we're real good on keeping our stuff up and going, so it still passes. But to get the new cardiac monitor that we need is $49,692.67. So we want to receive the grant from the state, which is promised, all the paperwork's been done through finance, all that's good. And then we need to pull out of our reserve funds $19,389.64 to finish up the match of this purpose. And for those of you that do not know about the reserve funds, each year we put so much money back into a reserve fund to buy expensive equipment with, such as stretchers, load devices, ambulances, and stuff like that. I believe the mayor told me we was at $319,000 in that reserve fund. And, trust me guys, that's not a bank to go home with, because I've got a high mileage ambulance that we're gonna have to re-chassis within the next year. And we're looking at, probably $250,000 just to remount and re-chassis that ambulance because of its age and mileage. So, but we'd like to pull that money down and match our own grant out of that reserve account.
Okay.
Any questions for that?
Okay, that takes us to the next item, it's resolution to rezone parcel 33, Macon County tax map. being changed from FAR to commercial. And the location is the, what is that road turn off of?
Cottonport Ferry Road.
Cottonport Ridge.
Cottonport Ridge Road.
It's between Highway 58 and Bethsaida Church. Airport Jim Phillips.
Right there beside the cemetery.
Yeah, right there beside the cemetery. It follows, Highway 58 there. And it's equipment for sale, I think you said.
Maintenance garage,
Garage.
something like that, yeah.
That's that piece of property. And the next item is resolution to rezone parcel 12, map 76. It's also FAR to commercial. That one is on Highway 60, and it's the side adjacent to the dollar store. Any questions on either one of those items?
Let them all.
Okay. Next is resolution to join Omnicorp.
Arnia Cooperative.
What is it?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, that is a purchasing pool that we can join, and where we're at, it has to do with the playground equipment grant. We're ready to put the playground equipment out to bid. And so we're gonna have a playground or a Parks and Recreation Committee meeting next month to look at equipment. But this kinda goes back to the discussion we were having about architects. If we put a playground equipment out to bid on our website, and buy an ad in the Chattanooga Times, all the players may not see it. But we can join this cooperative and meet TCA code and not have to advertise, and this is where all the playground vendors hang out. And we can look in there and find, they advertise their best prices, government prices, and we know how much money we got to spend, so we can go in there and hopefully find us some equipment, and then bring it back to the commission for you all to make the final vote.
What's the cost associated with it?
It costs nothing for us to join, but it costs the vendors to be a part of it, so if we can join this by resolution, it lets us purchase out of that pool, instead of having to hope somebody sees our ad in the Chattanooga Times and sends us a quote. It's a good thing.
Yes. Any questions, comments on
Is
that?
our school system a part of that? They, you know.
I can't answer that, I don't know. The development district, helps us with all of our grants, and they administer 90% of our grants. They are the ones that advised us to join this group, because they're helping other counties like us with playground maintenance grants, and that's what all of our neighboring counties are doing. We'll go into that cooperative and we'll look and see who's got the best deal.
That sounds like a no-brainer. Okay, next item is resolution to request unclaimed funds. This is something that we vote on every year, I think. It's authorizing our tax attorney, I guess, to move forward with claiming anything that's unclaimed. I think last year it was like $60,000 that came back into the county.
I don't think it's that much.
27.
27 this year. We can keep that, we can draw interest off of it, and in the event some family or heir ever shows proof, we do have to pay it back, but the state's been holding on to it for a number of years, and it's highly unlikely that a family member ever will. But, did I get that right? Sheriff?
Yes. Okay. Any questions on that? Next is Board of Education General Purpose Funds. Looks like our standard stuff. Next item is resolution to correct reserve numbers. Zach, do you remember specifically what that was?
There was an issue on a resolution that we passed, we just, it was supposed to have 4 numbers different on the second reserve account number, and we just copied those by accident. It's simply a typo. We've already passed this, we approved it, we just have to resend it and then
Correct the typo.
to correct the typo.
Okay. Any questions? Next, we have the budget amendments. Zach, I'm gonna let you speak to those, please.
Sure, I'll be, super quick, and if you guys have questions, just let me know. Number 1 in your packet, that's general session, that's for the, new probation officer. We're just adding that from fund balance to the general session's retirement line, it's $535. Number 2 is an ambulance service. This is just to supplement the unemployment line for the ambulance payroll. It's $200, and it's coming from fund balance. Number 3, that's other charges, and that's to pay an invoice for volunteer accidental insurance policy. So that's for our county volunteers, that's their accident policy if they get hurt while working. So that is new money, that's coming from fund balance. Number 4, sanitation. This is to give us enough money to make it to the end of the fiscal year on the sewer and water bills for our sanitation convenience centers. If you go to the second page, this is for a senior center grant. We've already approved this senior center grant, and it's $50,000. We're just moving that money into a payable line, and then it's 100% reimbursed after we pay it. Number 6 is a TVA impact. We got more money in than we were expecting, which is a really good thing, and we just need to extend those budget lines. And then number 7 is TVA impact. We are transferring more of that 25%. Originally, we agreed to put 25% of impact funds into a jail reserve. Because we got more impact funds than we were expecting, we need to supplement that line with more jail reserve money. And then the last one is for the grant Tony was talking about. This is just moving from fund balance for the grant money, and then moving from his reserve with the balance that he is supplementing. Do you guys have any questions?
What did that put us in total with the TVA impact money and going into jail? What did that bring us up to, do you know?
I don't have a total on that reserve, that would be a Leslie question.
I looked at that this week,
Okay.
it's around 1.6. I could tell you for sure next week, but
And that brings it up to 160.
I think so. Okay. Not bad. Yeah, were there any other questions? All right, we just asked that you guys pass those. We brought them from the finance committee.
Any questions on any of the budget minutes from anyone? Okay, that takes us to notary, looks like we have one. Then we go into information, mayor's newsletter, zoning report.
I wanna mention, next week, before you folks leave, we need to schedule a Parks and Rec committee meeting and a sanitation committee meeting for sometime in April. Sorry, got you on this.
Economic Development Board meeting minutes. Any questions, comments from any of the commissioners? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
Yes.